We'd have some breaking news, and this comes a day after a difficult couple of days on Capitol Hill in both the House and the Senate for Kristi Noem, the Homeland Security Secretary. She is being replaced. Senator Mark Wayne Mullen is now going to take over her job. The president making the announcement on Truth Social just a short time ago. He writes, quote, "I am pleased to announce that the highly respected United States Senator from the great state of Oklahoma, Mark Wayne Mullen, will become the United States Secretary of Homeland Security effective March 31st of this year. The current Secretary, Kristi Noem, who has served us well and has had numerous and spectacular results, especially on the border, will be moving to be special envoy for the Shield of the Americas, which is a new security initiative in the Western Hemisphere that they're announcing on Saturday at Doral in Florida. The president says, "I thank Kristi for her service at Homeland."
If you're watching this video right now, chances are you were also surprised by this story that began circulating across the United States in the last few hours. A major development inside the U.S. government that appeared somewhat suddenly and immediately sparked debate among political analysts, journalists, and viewers following American politics. The footage you're seeing right now comes from a news report discussing what was described as breaking news. According to that coverage, the President of the United States, Donald Trump, announced a significant change involving one of the most sensitive positions in the federal government. Based on the announcement reportedly posted on the president's social media platform, the current Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, will be leaving the leadership of the Department of Homeland Security, commonly referred to as DHS. For those who may not follow U.S. politics very closely, the Department of Homeland Security is one of the largest and most powerful departments in the federal government. It oversees several major agencies responsible for border security, immigration enforcement, disaster response, counterterrorism coordination, and national security operations across the country. Because of that, any leadership change at DHS immediately attracts national attention. According to the announcement referenced in the report, the person selected to replace Noem is the senator from Oklahoma, Mark Wayne Mullen. Reports say the transition is expected to take effect at the end of the month, specifically on March 31st. In the same message cited by journalists, the president thanked Kristi Noem for her work while leading the department and indicated that she would remain part of the administration in a different role. That new role has been described as a special envoy connected to an initiative reportedly called the Shield of the Americas, which appears to be related to broader security cooperation within the Western Hemisphere. But as often happens in Washington, whenever a major government change like this appears somewhat unexpectedly, it quickly raises a lot of questions. Was this move planned for a long time? Was it the result of recent political developments? Or is it simply a routine administrative adjustment within the government? To better understand the context behind this story, many analysts began looking at events that took place in the weeks leading up to this announcement. Just days earlier, Kristi Noem had testified during hearings on Capitol Hill, where government officials often answer questions from members of Congress regarding policy decisions, budgets, and departmental operations. During those hearings, some lawmakers reportedly raised concerns about a government advertising campaign associated with the Department of Homeland Security. According to various media reports referenced by political journalists, that campaign involved spending that was estimated at around $200 million. Some of the criticism reportedly focused on the way certain advertisements featured the secretary herself in prominent roles, which drew attention from lawmakers and commentators. In parts of the hearing, Noem reportedly indicated that the campaign had been approved by the president. According to some news outlets, that claim may have created discomfort within parts of the White House. However, it's important to emphasize that different news organizations have presented slightly different interpretations of these events. At this point, there has not been a detailed official explanation outlining exactly which factors played the biggest role in the decision to make this leadership change. Another factor mentioned by some political analysts involves internal debates within the administration about immigration enforcement strategies. The Department of Homeland Security oversees agencies directly involved in border security and immigration enforcement. Over the past months, those policies have remained a central topic in American political debate. Some reports suggest there may have been internal disagreements regarding the best approach to certain aspects of immigration enforcement. One name frequently mentioned in those discussions is Tom Homan, who has often been associated with advocating stricter enforcement policies. Some commentators suggest that differences in policy approach or communication strategies may have contributed to tensions within parts of the administration. But again, these observations are largely based on media reporting and analysis rather than detailed official statements explaining the internal decision-making process. Another detail that caught the attention of observers is the timing of the announcement itself. Historically, major cabinet-level changes in the United States often occur either early in a presidential term or shortly after major elections. Because of that, some commentators describe the timing of this decision as somewhat unexpected. At the same time, the choice of Markwayne Mullin as the replacement also generated curiosity. His background is somewhat unusual compared to many figures in Washington politics. Before entering national politics, Mullin was known for his involvement in professional mixed martial arts, commonly referred to as MMA. He later built a political career representing Oklahoma first in the House of Representatives and later in the United States Senate. In the announcement referenced by journalists, the president highlighted aspects of Mullin's political career as well as his public presence in political debates and television appearances. Another detail often mentioned in coverage of his career is that Mullin is currently the only Native American serving in the United States Senate. Depending on who you ask, the interpretation of this appointment varies significantly. Some analysts believe it could represent an effort by the administration to reinforce a strong posture on national security and immigration issues. Others argue that the change may simply reflect routine adjustments that occur inside any administration over time. There are also observers who suggest that leadership changes sometimes happen as part of broader strategic reorganizations within governments. Another point of discussion involves the new role that Kristi Noem is expected to take on. According to the announcement mentioned in the report, she will move into a position connected to the Shield of the Americas initiative. At this stage, only limited public information is available about the details of this program. Some reports suggest the initiative may focus on security cooperation between countries in the Western Hemisphere, but additional details may only become clear in the coming weeks. That raises another interesting question being discussed by analysts. Does this transition represent a lateral move within the administration, or could it signal a shift in political influence inside the government? Depending on the perspective of different observers, the answer may vary. Some foreign policy specialists say envoy positions can carry significant influence depending on the scope of the mission. Others suggest that leaving the leadership of a major federal department could represent a notable shift in political standing. But for now, these remain interpretations rather than confirmed conclusions. Officials within the administration have continued emphasizing that the broader policy direction related to border security and immigration enforcement is not expected to change because of this leadership transition. Statements referenced in recent reporting indicate that the administration believes it has made progress regarding border control and enforcement priorities. However, immigration policy remains one of the most politically polarized issues in the United States. Different political groups often interpret the same developments in very different ways. Some view current policies as strengthening national security. Others raise concerns regarding humanitarian impacts, legal procedures, and broader social consequences. That is one reason why leadership changes at the Department of Homeland Security often become a major national conversation. The big question many analysts are now asking is whether this move represents a simple administrative adjustment or something larger unfolding behind the scenes. Historically, governments sometimes reorganize leadership positions before introducing new policy initiatives or strategic priorities. But at this moment, there has been no official confirmation suggesting additional cabinet-level changes are imminent. For now, the only confirmed development is the announcement of this leadership transition and the various interpretations that have emerged from it. And as often happens in Washington, the coming days may bring new information, additional statements, and perhaps more insight into how this decision was made. So now I want to hear from you. Do you think this leadership change is simply a routine government reshuffle, or could it signal deeper political dynamics inside the administration? Do you believe appointing someone with Markwayne Mullin's background could influence the direction of the Department of Homeland Security? Or do you think policies will remain largely the same, regardless of who leads the department? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Different perspectives often bring out details and insights that others might not have considered. And if you enjoy this type of content where we take major international news stories and analyze them carefully without jumping to conclusions, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Here, the goal is to break down important global developments, look at multiple perspectives, and follow the story as new information emerges. So subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and share your opinion in the comments. Because in politics, what looks like a single announcement today can sometimes turn out to be the beginning of a much larger story tomorrow. And watching how these developments unfold over time is often the best way to understand what is really happening behind the scenes. Now the conversation is open. What do you think might actually be happening behind this decision?